Who funds your MP? Who is funding their Congress, so to say, as an American? Which, by the way, it's not even midnight here, so good morning. So yeah, this is Sky News. I just thought this was interesting because in American news, I don't think they would ever actually do this. They would allow this kind of like line questioning from like real people, but also it's not that open really. Like they obviously cherry pick these people super hard. They're questioning 545. Right on. So you were Germany? Um, yeah, I don't. We would never do this, but at the same time, it's completely corporate controlled. I think most of these people are pretty obviously like centrist of their parties. I thought I remembered that right. I thought I remembered that right. So yeah, these are all centrist people. You can and they'll watch. You can see their reactions in the background and stuff, like questions. It's kind of interesting. But let's do 1 minute here in the beginning, and then we'll get to a few segments of this. It was kind of cringe, actually. Like, I don't want to watch the whole thing for any means, but there's like 15 minutes worth. Yeah, I know, it's Sky TV. Like, I actually had to, like, constantly remind people, like, Sky TV is basically their Fox, and because a lot of them, a lot of non-politicals aren't exactly in the know of the international news, but yeah, it's basically Fox for Americans.
Watson. Derek, I know you've got a view on this and you've got a question for our panel. Go ahead.
Good evening, Trevor. Yes. Whilst politicians' funding's actions are legal, they're shrouded in smoke and mirrors, which often serves to agitate voters and incents public sector workers, as evidenced in the nursing profession, who are fighting for a fair day's salary for a fair day's work. So, Trevor, my question is, are those who pursue a political career motivated by the common good of the people or by lucrative double jobbing?
That's the question you came up with. You had the right start. You had the right cadence. You had a fan. I mean, you stumbled through it a little bit, but that's to be expected for anybody. And then you ask, are they getting into it for money or for actual passion? That's the question you came up with. Yeah, the British dialects are all over the place. So yeah, a dozen different people are going to have a dozen different accents. It's kind of like America, where they have a lot of accents in a small area, except for that in America, those are spread out over hours and hours and hours and hours. And in Britain, this is on this little tiny island. Yeah, I always got to turn up the volume on the Brits to try to like deeply listen. Some of their accents are heavy.
Thank you very much, Derek. I like the expression double jobbing. Derek's question for our panel is, are our MPs motivated by the common good? And James Harding, you almost couldn't make this up. Live show, half an hour ago, we learned that the former Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has, I was going to say his trousers, that's impolite, has been donated £1 million by somebody very rich. What do you make of it?
What's going on? Well, Derek said two things there that I think are really interesting. One is smoke and mirrors, and the nature of this whole project is, in theory, about transparency. And I say in theory because the strange thing about the whole undertaking has been realizing that all of these things are declared, but we can't really see what's going on. So it's a different version of smoke and mirrors. It's transparency without visibility. They're telling you, but you can't see what's really going on. And so what you just described, Trevor, is a perfect case in point. Don't talk about double jobbing. There are lots of people in Parliament who have second jobs, who have other forms of earnings. Actually, what you learn from the Westminster accounts, because you can rank everyone in terms of how they earn money, is there's actually a very, very small number of people who really earn a lot of money from outside jobs. There are only about, 20, 30 people out of a, Parliament of 650.
Yeah.
But then you find what you just described, which is a donation, so not an earnings, a donation. Someone's given the former Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, £1 million. And this is what I mean about the difference between transparency and visibility. We've just seen the latest update of the Register of Interests, that Christopher Harborne, who's, and I don't know, I'm just literally trying to figure out who this person is, a business...
Germans have a lot of dialects, and they can be so harsh. But as soon as we get halfway professional, we switch to default German? Yeah, there is no default English, huh? There is no default English. I guess in America, TV is usually the Midwest. Like the Midwest accent gets the most heavily used. So my accent, being the Midwest accent, is typically the most heavily considered the standard. Which, hooray! I'm from the Midwest, and I don't have to change my accent. But yeah, each one of these people have a very different cadence, and they're all just going to go randomly. I like that he asked. He set up his question so well, and then he asked the wrong question, and then no one's going to answer it. Everybody's going to step around it. So we're going to move ahead to 10:45. Let's go a few seconds before I picked, because I don't know. I did this 2 days ago.
This question. In my experience, the bulk of politicians of all parties come into politics for the public good. I genuinely believe...
Oh, fuck you. Wait, what? I do remember you. Screw you. Piss off. Most politicians come into it for the general good. Man, hey, you're awake again. What's up? That's bullshit. Most politicians come into it. I would say politicians who try to get elected and fail went into it for the common good. The politicians who make enough money to actually get into seats of power were not into it for the common good, which is why they had enough money to get into seats of power, and therefore the people who get into power are not in it for the good. So are you talking about people who ran for election or the people in house? Because people in house who made enough money to get into the house, they're not into it for the common good. And they've probably been getting Taylor groomed since they were kids. Or whatever, college or some shit. They've been getting groomed for years and years. So I don't think I don't buy that.
believe that. But unfortunately...
Oh, and intellectual, I know you're just maybe getting back or whatever. This is British. That's hence the accent and the slightly difference in opinion. Watching Sky News from Britain.
We've had some very high-profile cases where they transparently haven't come into politics for the common good. I'm a passionate believer in transparency because I think transparency ultimately brings with it greater trust. And the great...
Oh, transparency brings trust. This is a fucking genius right here. I'm really glad I gotta follow him. They should have his Twitter follow because I need to follow him.
Service to the work that you've done through Sky and Tortoise is to make it much more accessible to the ordinary public. And that's a good thing.
It's interesting. I think that we can see from our panel...
Oh, that's my favorite part, is the stupid scan. I'm not going to lie. I mean, this is supposed to be a debate, or I guess we're all going to be on the same side. We all hate the money in politics, right? Nobody that's catching my streams yay, we love the sold-out corporate power. So yeah, anybody that can deal with me for a few minutes isn't that kind of person. But I do love the panel reactions. You can kind of see the kind of people they pulled for this panel by their reactions, and it's interesting to me.
But there's quite a surprising level of support for the view that actually most politicians do come into it for good reasons. But let's talk about another aspect of why I think people are concerned about this. Louise Brown, who I think has some thoughts about the way it looks and feels from where she's sitting. Louise.
Okay. Is it fair that MPs' salaries
Okay.
are so high?
So I'm a hyper-capitalistic accelerationist. I don't even know. So you're for corporations giving more money to government officials so that they can push their will better? You really would be soulless then. I mean, I'm okay with people worshiping Satan, but worshiping corporations, I'm a little scared of that.
While that of nurses and other health workers are so low.
Why is that such an issue for you? Because it's a job. We've decided that they're going to be paid $84,000 thereabouts.
Oh, you think corporations should be the government? That is scary. Corporations are pretty caste system style. You know, corporations are caste systems, right? Corporations there's a handful on the top that make a ridiculous amount of money and everybody else is kind of left to themselves. So yeah, capitalism would be just going back to the caste system. That doesn't sound good to me. That's gross. No thank you. I don't want to go back to the caste system. I'm already poor. I'm already poor. I don't need to be more poor. I don't need to get further down the line. I guess I'm poor in America though, so let's be fair to things, right? I'm poor in America. I'm first world poor.
They have to earn the same amount of money, do they?
Nurses and health workers, you know, they're saving people's lives, and you know, are MPs doing that?
Yeah, but in
Okay, so she gets attacked because she asked the question, don't you think that these people who are on strike should be getting more paid and the MPs are getting paid too high? And like they just shoot her down like, hey, this is supposed to be about money and politics. Well, don't you think money and politics is part of the reason that they don't bring this up? And she's not going to come up with it because she's on national TV on the spot. She's not going to come up with that. But this is my point. Isn't it interesting that nobody is talking about the fact that the MPs are the one blocking the raises for the nurses and the nurses are saving lives? But wait, aren't the MPs probably taking money from some sort of private interest to block this? Like, it's not a fiscal thing, right? It's probably a more political thing than a fiscal thing because Great Britain could probably pretty much print money like America does. Not quite to the extent, but basically they can. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think she asked a legit question, and they shoot her down here. They blocked this whole situation. They stopped this question from really taking off the way she wanted it to. And I mean, I guess she didn't know how to she wasn't ready for that like misdirection. Let's do it.
this investigation, Louise, is it just the money that concerns you, or is it the issue that we've been talking about here about the source?
Britain gave all their money to the Ukraine. Of course, if you have enough money, you could buy your way out. Buy. Oh, it's gonna come back mute, isn't it? Son of a pup. All right, let's just get back to the beginning of her.
That we've been talking about here about the sources of money and so on.
Yeah.
Let's do her from the
Not
beginning.
everybody has to earn the same amount of money, do they?
Nurses and health workers, you know, they're saving people's lives, and you know, are MPs doing that?
Yeah, but in this investigation, Louise, is it just the money that concerns you, or is it the issue that we've been talking about here about the sources of money and so on?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think it's both. I mean, how is the job of an MP worth so much more of that, of people working themselves to the bone in a hospital?
Okay, that's a whole capitalism argument we can have. I think she really just needed to narrow it down to, look, you don't think that they're blocking the raises for a non-fiscal reason? They absolutely have a non-fiscal reason. I don't buy that they can't give these people raises.
And of course, it worries me where the sources of the money comes from as well. Yeah, it's both things.
Okay. Henry, of course, there's a context for this, isn't there? That actually, at a time when a lot of people feel that they're under financial pressure, the country is struggling in various ways. Whether or not it is legitimate, and I'm stressing it again,
Cheers.
There's nothing unlawful here. The sense that money is coming from sources for reasons we don't quite know is not good for politics, is it?
No, I think the public, especially in the wake of the expenses scandal, there is an absolutely corrosive mistrust of politicians, and that's ultimately bad for all of us.
All right, so I have to be honest. I have started watching a lot more news in my life. I did watch a handful of segments on Sky News, and a few of you who have been here, we have already hated this person once. Deputy Editor Conservative Home, Henry Hill. I got to put him on my hate list. I do not like anything he says. And we were going to listen to him and then move ahead. So that's kind of funny that I literally... All right, so let's give this jackass his proper attention.
Don't quite know. Is not good for politics, is it?
No, I think the public, especially in the wake of the expenses scandal, there is an absolutely corrosive mistrust of politicians, and that's ultimately bad for all of us, because most politicians are in politics for good reasons. They're trying to do their best, and if they don't have public confidence, then that's a problem. I think, speaking specifically to the question, one problem that we have consistently had, and this actually I think predates the expenses scandal, is the fact that lots of people don't like it when politicians are paid more money. The original reason that the expenses system became the scandal that it was is because basically Parliament was using it as a way of padding MPs' remuneration because they didn't want to raise the headline figure. We've now got to a point where MPs' pay is actually set by an independent body, but...
Okay, he's going to make this argument, make this, really great argument for how they keep getting raises, okay?
Every time that independent body suggests an increase, the MPs all kick off about it. So, to speak specifically...
So the independent study, the independent body keeps giving them raises. That's what happens.
To the question, ultimately, there are only 650 MPs. They have quite a specific job. I actually think, probably not a popular opinion, they're probably not paid enough.
Yeah, he thinks they're not paid enough. He is going to advocate for the MPs getting more money. That's what this dickhead's going to come in and do. He's going to come in and advocate for even more money for the MPs. Okay, hold up. Just, okay, Fuck you. Wow, dude. Fuck you.
For the sacrifices that you have to make, and if we paid them more through the official channels...
Now, okay, I have to agree with Seawan on this one. I don't think the UK can handle that. I don't think the UK is going to sanction anybody. They're just going to piggyback on anything the US does, but as far as actual sanctions themselves, only if the US forces them to. Yeah, that's true. That's true, Viceroy. All right, let's watch this reaction. This is pretty funny. Oh, don't you fucking do this again. Why does it keep muting on me?
If we paid them more through the official channels, there'd be less scope for the kind of stuff that you've been investigating.
Well, I want to go back to this issue of the level of silence.
The one guy just has a complete, like, no. Oh, that's so great. All right, let's move on. This shit goes on forever. They don't say anything. I can't believe I watched this whole fucking thing, guys. I am not going to do the same to you. It's not as good as the last one. The last one was worth watching. This is not. But for shits and giggles, we're going to get through at least another 10 minutes. And then we're going to watch an old school debate on condoms or no condoms from Limerick, Ireland from 1991. I think it's going to be fucking fun. It's a half-hour video or 40-minute video. It'll be fun. Right, Viceroy? Like, I lost my shit. I lost my shit when I watched this the first time. I can't stress enough how much I hate that guy. I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think they get paid enough. Yeah, that's an unpopular opinion. That's a very unpopular opinion. Oh, you dick. All right, 30-second minute. We'll move ahead to... What a jack. Oh, right, the money chart. Start out with the money chart and move on from that conversation. The money chart. Oh, no. Commercial.
Hey, do you ever walk into a room?
So they have a chart of, like, their donors. Then they talk about their problems with the donors, and they talk a little bit about America. They kind of have, like, a crosstalk moment, which Crosstalk used to be an awesome show on RT. We should dig up an episode of that, but RT is very hard to find. If anybody knows the links to Crosstalk, I would love to play some Crosstalk or like old Tom Hartman or Watching the Hawks. Those are good shows. Such good shows that we're missing out on because America thinks that RT is Russian propaganda. All right, so top 20 donors to MPs during the current parliament. And you got the top ones: Unite, GMB Union, NPM Connected, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Qatar. Qatar is one of the big donors to the MPs in Britain. I already see one. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, rest up before your day. Shit, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning now. Thanks for swinging by again. It's been a while, right? Freaking refugee asylum. There's a refugee asylum and migration project that donates to MPs. That's fucking crazy. Health row. Like, just interesting list. Much different than ours.
Unions and Unite, GMB, the co-op gives them a lot of money, and there are companies, the people who build farm machinery, JCBs and all of that, give Conservatives a lot of money. Most of these are not, the biggest donors are not necessarily individuals. I mean, Dale Vince, who gives up 300 to 400,000, didn't.
I kind of want to see if that glitch is going to happen. My live feed is 30 seconds ahead, so yeah, that happened to you guys too. Fuck, man. That's the YouTube. Like, their YouTube had that clip on it, like, oh. Oh, that's rough. So this is a hangover wake up. Right on. Alcohol left your system and you're awake again. It's Monday. It is now Monday. Whew,
even make the top 20.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, if you look at America, you can see that a lot of the big funding is coming from a very tiny amount of individuals, and it really does skew politics and political representation. And I don't think we want to import that kind of stratification into Britain. I mean, at least when you have these big groups that, like, you know, a union or a big collective, that's a lot of people to.
Oh, I would love. Sounds good. I can't drink it much anymore, but good night. Cheers to you. I can only have about 2 glasses of wine and my blood sugar crashes on me, so I'm having one. And those of us in the States here will have a few drinks for you on our Sunday night. Cheers, cheers.
Together giving a huge amount of money. It's not just one person.
Okay, James, has an investigation led you to think maybe we should find some way of regulating, controlling, corralling the donations?
So, well, this conversation is because I buy Henry's point, which is if you create essentially a state arbiter of who gets what money, there's a whole set of problems associated with that. And if you don't allow for the freedom of expression of political donations, that's a problem too.
Whoa, freedom of by political donations. Go fuck yourself. Pardon me, what? Freedom of speech by political donations is not really a thing, because money is not speech. Money is money. Money is power. Money is influence. Speech is speech. And connections are power and influence. And having lunch and dinner with these people and being at the golf frickin' resort is already enough. They don't need to. Money is not speech.
I think one of the.
And if you ever agree with that dickhead on your other side, again, you should be canceled. Your entire political career should be canceled.
Issues about the leaderboard that you showed there, that was donations to MPs. There's also donations to parties.
Yeah.
And so I think the point that Robin was making, which was about a cap, is a really interesting point. Because if you get back to first principles, what you're saying is, look, if you really believe in a cause, if you are like Dale Vince, you want to change the government of the country, how are you able to do that and express that and use your resources to do so? Okay, fine. The question is, should there be a limit to that? So you don't have, as Heather says, a few individuals who have outsized influence. And we should say those individuals then often end up in the House of Lords. Okay. We've got an issue there.
All right. Let's take this a little further and talk a little bit about how we understand these donations. So Gareth Kearns, I think you wanted to make a point about transparency.
Yeah. Well, how can the parliamentary process be considered to be at all transparent when there's one donor who's given the address of a derelict building, there's another one that is a firm of accountants who are, we must assume, the proxies of the true donor and are thereby maintaining the donor's anonymity.
Damn! Shots fired. That was solid. See, that kind of question would never happen on American TV. You would never have somebody going, why is there an accounting firm, which is really just a front for the rich people that have donated to them? So why is that allowed to be happening? That would never happen on American TV. that would be shut down so fast.
So my question would be, what are the implications of donor anonymity for our country and our democracy?
This is quite a big issue, isn't it, Henry? I mean, my poor colleague, Sam Coates, has been scouring the country, knocking on doors for donors whose names are in the record, but finding empty offices with wet carpets and all the rest of it. It's not good.
No, and I think this is a regulatory problem. Now, it might be wrong because you've been investigating this and I haven't. But as I understood it, actually, donor anonymity is not allowed in the United Kingdom. There was actually a bit of a furore during the Brexit vote.
Oh, it's not allowed. Oh, well, shucks. That's fine then. It's not allowed. Fucking jackass.
Referendum, because it was, for reasons terror-related, allowed in Northern Ireland for a while, and there was a big donation via the DUP to the pro-Brexit campaign. But that was specifically, allegedly, because there was a gap in Northern Ireland. I don't think you shouldn't be able to have donor anonymity of that sort, and if it's currently occurring, that is a failure of the regulator that needs to be policed.
I think the bank account...
Oh, yes, needs to be policed, but I'm sure they've cut the funds for the people who are supposed to police that, which you're actually okay with because you actually know that, but you were sitting there with very expensive jeans shirt. He makes a lot of money for whatever he does, and he's paid well to toe the line.
Cannot be anonymous, but we don't necessarily need to know who... we're not necessarily allowed to know who holds bank accounts.
Well, just to identify what the real problems are that we've had, and it is a point worth making that for all the MPs' declarations that, you know, our system is very transparent, it's taken a team of people from 2 newsrooms 9 months to try and make sense of this. I think, you know, Bob Kerslake's point is absolutely right. The vast majority of people, there is this public service, and the truth is that actually, on the vast majority of donors, you don't knock on a door and not know who's there. Actually, you can see it pretty clearly. The problem that you've got is that a number of donors do disguise themselves. That's a problem. The second problem is the MPs report how money is given in a bunch of different places using a bunch of different databases and PDFs and whatnot. So it's really hard to actually make sense of it all together. I think the benefit of the Westminster accounts is it does all come together in one place, and then you can begin to identify the ones that simply don't make sense, and then you go out and investigate them.
And indeed, I can say with authority, because I had to look at it to present this show, it does help a lot. We'll go to a break.
Ugh. All right. Let's get another bit here. Moving ahead. Ooh, another commercial. Fantastic. I'm super excited now. This condom debate I've had on the docket for a few weeks. I'm super excited to watch it. I hope you guys are gonna stay awake for it. I have a feeling some people are in and out of sleep.
But right now, we can't track for certain where that money is always coming from. Let's talk to Judith Randall, who I think is with us. Judith, you have some concerns on the issues of influence in general. What's your thought?
Yes, I question the whole system when it comes to funding of our politicians and payment for work outside of Parliament.
I question the whole system. I can agree with that. Oh, always with the shit.
Judith, you have some concerns on the issues of influence in general. What's your thought?
Yes, I question the whole system when it comes to funding of our politicians and payment for work outside of Parliament. MPs' credibility is on the line when they make so much money outside of Parliament. I have lost faith in our political system and worry politicians can be bought and then act in the interests of private companies and the wealthy elite. And I have a question, and that is, are our MPs too influenced by outside interests?
Yes. Let's go ahead and say yes. That's pretty easy, right? Her accent was hard, and her lips were way off of her camera, which was, again, the video, not just you guys. It's not just the volume or whatever. Like that was how they filmed it. So yeah, that was really that was a hard one to listen to. Sometimes when you have an accent, I worked in sales for a few years. They always said, people with accents do really well because you have to listen to them. Like, you are forced to listen harder. So you are forced to focus in and listen to what they say, because if not, you miss all of it. Like, oh, I did it again. Why does it keep doing that to me tonight? Stop the shit. Why does it keep doing that to me tonight?
Side of Parliament. I have lost faith in our political system and worry politicians can be bought and then act in the interests of private companies and the wealthy elite. And I have a question, and that is, are our MPs too influenced by outside interests?
Thank you very much, Judith. Judith's question is, are MPs too close to outside interests? Henry, we've been talking about money, but there are all sorts of other ways in which what used to be called suasion can be brought. You know, friendships, not wanting to be embarrassed in front of your friends and so on. Do you think we've got an issue with that?
Yes, I think, again, it's something that can often be overplayed. I think the idea that, you know, most MPs are not in hock to corporate or other interests, but you can do non-monetary ways to influence MPs. The most obvious one is perks. You know,
Most don't. Most don't. He says most don't.
a nice day at the races, a very nice meal, the kind of stuff that, because you're paying for it, they sometimes, if you can do it through the right way, they don't have to declare it on something that someone like James can look up. APPGs, which I think we've mentioned, are the most obvious example of this.
All-party parliamentary groups.
All-party parliamentary groups. Basically, most of them are completely harmless. They bring together politicians from different parties on an area of interest, but the way that they're...
Completely harmless. They're completely harmless. Fuck you, dude.
Hello, motherfucker.
That is not harmless. What's up? What's up? Welcome to the hangout, Sir Slowness. Well, you're going to make me more slow. I'm drinking and smoking for new follows tonight, so I'm going to have a little wine and smoke a little of my medical. Oh, God, this guy is just sets me off every freaking thing he says. Thanks for hanging out. We're talking Who Funds Your MP from Sky News. Talking some Great Britain debates here in America.
counted is very much a relic of the pre-expenses scandal era, and so you can do an awful lot of stuff with APPGs, like buying yourself nice things, and there's no receipts at the end for anyone to check. So that's really the avenue that I'd be concerned about.
Heather, you became famous for triggering the expenses scandal, but actually, aside from...
Oh, I also have to say thank you for that follow, because that takes me up to 89. That was my football number when I used to play. So I do enjoy the 89 number, although we're shooting for 100 for the month of January. I am loving the love. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. And let's keep doing some debate. Not debating ourselves, just these guys. I don't think any of us are, yeah, man, I just cannot believe this guy said fucking, he was pro MPs getting a raise. Like, no, who, man.
The bunts. Do you think that there are other ways that we need to think about or understand by which MPs may be influenced to do things other than their constituents' interests?
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's the main thing you want to know is influences. What are all the influences that are bearing down on a politician? And not just a politician, but also, I would say, quite high-level civil servants. And we need to know what those influences are. And our lobbying law is pretty opaque. There's not a lot of reporting requirements, and there's a lot of ways.
Ha, see? There we go. Somebody who's better, because... Man, the last guy, he was straight up like, hey, you know, if they're breaking the law, that's against the law. They should be reported. She's like, you know, the laws are pretty opaque. The laws are pretty loose. People aren't exactly having to follow things to the T. That's not necessarily the situation we're in.
That you know, influence can be done, and it's usually in these more informal mechanisms, dinners as perks. And really, it's access. That's the main thing. It's just getting.
It's access. It's not freaking an innocent dinner and an innocent round of golf. It's access to the people. It's influence of power by not just money, but it's also influence by actually having their people's ears, by having them have to listen to you, having them have to listen to you, not getting to listen to you, not wanting to listen to you. They have to listen to you. They know that round of golf is more than just a round of golf. They know it. So,
access to these people. And that's what you see so much of this, even the donations, a lot of it is paying to access the people that make the big decisions.
Bob, you spend a lot of time in Whitehall, and indeed, actually, there's something familiar from local government in this, that actually it's not just somebody standing people money, but people belonging to the right circles, going to the right golf club, being to get football matches or shooting weekends or whatever it is. Does that we don't have any controls over that. In the United States, what they call K Street, which is the big lobbying street in Washington, there are very, very stringent rules about who can do what with whom. Should we have more control on that?
Look, I think there is a case to say it's not tight enough. I think in local government, actually, it is pretty tight, but even there, you can see councillors sometimes getting unduly influenced by those outside. And let's face it...
Wait, so you admit that... So now he's admitting that locally it's pretty tight, but the government's loose. Before he was saying that people get into government... This is the guy that said that people are getting into the government just for pure reasons and not money. So which is it? Are the things too loose up top, or are people in there for good reasons?
The money involved is small compared to the prizes sometimes they're seeking to achieve, changes in legislation, changes in decisions. So yes, there's a constant risk, and we have to be constantly vigilant about it. Like Henry, I think most APPGs are pretty harmless and do a fairly effective job.
Again, if you agree with Henry, you've canceled yourself. So canceled, giant cancel, just one giant cancel right there. Canceled. So let's move on. She's the only one whose opinion I care.
But there's always that risk there, and we constantly have to review and revise and adapt our arrangements and controls to make sure that we're capturing the latest way in which influence is being improperly done.
Just very briefly, James, you probably, entirely apart from this investigation, you probably sat in the two most establishment journalistic jobs in the entire world, editor of the Times, head of news at BBC. But did it ever worry you that there's a sort of sense that there's an elite crowd that influence each other in ways that we don't understand?
Yes, well, I just want to say one thing to Judith, which is please don't despair about politics and politicians. Please don't, because it would actually be a misreading of the Westminster accounts. The thing that should, when you go in and you look at it, what you actually see is it's not the case that everyone is, you know, looking out to make money this way and that. There are, as I said right at the beginning, it's actually quite a small number of people. It's definitely the case, Trevor, that there is inevitably a problem, and it doesn't just happen in our capital, in London, it happens in capitals everywhere, that everyone gets a bit close and a bit cosy. Actually, one of the benefits of our system is that you go back, you go home, you go to your constituency, and you try and hear what's really going on. I would say that the real issue is the way in which the rules of that system work, the way in which the rules of our democracy work, more so necessarily than money.
Okay, just to reinforce what James said, I think the average amount of money that an MP gets in donations, all the rest of it, is less than 15,000. It's quite small, actually.
And it is, yeah.
All right, you're watching a special great debate on the Westminster accounts. When we come back, how much does the lack of transparency around money...
Oh, interesting. Don't remember doing anything with Twitch on here today. Okay. Didn't touch anything. That's interesting. I don't know if I've ever had my screen just randomly go to Twitch before, but I guess we were done with that. No, actually we fucking weren't, so let's get back to the last fucking segment. What the fuck was that? I guess that can be my new catchphrase. What the fuck was that? Yes, we were going to the next segment anyway. We were going to the last fucking... Oh my gosh. Alright. We're going to go to the last bit, and then we will be done with this. Oh. And then we will do a fun debate.
With the current situation, and there is a very clear situation where these funds could potentially be used for quick
you've got a question for us, Carlos.
Yeah, the question is, how can we increase the integrity of the political system?
Okay, thank you very much. Carlos has got a question, which I'm going to ask you to answer very briefly. How do we protect integrity in politics, Heather? You started all this.
I did, I guess. Well, the reason I even started it was because I didn't think there was the integrity that Parliament had was based on a falsity. It was an illusion. And once we peeled back and got some facts, we saw that it wasn't as beatific as we thought. So I think that we need to have. I think lobbying is the big thing that has really damaged the integrity of Parliament, and we need a tougher lobbying register.
So controlled lobbying, Henry.
I think you need
All right, she wins. That was the right answer. She wins. Everybody else can be shit. She wins. Don't you fucking dare. Crocky bastard.
and we need a tougher lobbying register.
So controlled lobbying, Henry.
I think you need a clear and realistic idea of what constitutes actually problematic behaviour, and then to have that overseen by a regulator. You can't police everything. You can't control who drinks in what room with whom. It's an impossible mission, and I think that it will eventually just end.
You told one of the questionnaires, oh, that's illegal, that should be policed, and now you're saying you can't police everything? God damn, dude.
Even more. So a clear idea of what's wrong and empowered to fix it. Bob?
Clear idea of what's wrong, power to fix it. When you were advocating that, oh, that's illegal, so that should be fixed. You told that one questionnaire person, oh, that's illegal, that should be fixed.
I think you've got to recognise that trust is vital to good government. The vast bulk of MPs do a good job and they're committed, but they're undermined by a small number.
Small number, huh? Just a couple bad apples? We do hate that phrase over here.
Abuse the system. And you've got to constantly work at tackling those people, identifying them and dealing with them. Because I feel angry about those MPs who do a great job and they're undermined by this sort of issue.
A lot of agreement from our audience on that. James, you've made the trouble this week. What would you actually do about it?
So the big lesson that I've learned in this project, as I said, it's been 9 months, has been there's a difference between transparency and visibility. It's one thing to say, well, I'm declaring everything, and it's another thing to say, it's really clear what I'm doing. And I think that in two regards, we need greater visibility. We need to make sure that the system of reporting in Westminster, not just done by Sky News and us at Tortoise, but by Parliament itself, is easily accessible to every voter in the country. And I think that's an issue inside Parliament, and I also think it's an issue for parties. So I think visibility for MPs and political parties too.
Thank you all. We are going to return to this, but that's all we have time for this evening. It just remains for me to say thank you to our panellists here in the studio. James Harding, Henry Hill, Bob Kerslake, and Heather Brooke. But of course, it's you at home who are at the centre of our...
Fuck off. All right. Oh, this is bloody long. And we'll probably watch most of it. Yeah. Well, at least watch the first 15 minutes. It looks interesting enough. During March 1991, there was a public controversy in Ireland surrounding the government's announcement that it was planning to bring the new legislation which would make condoms more widely available than before to members of the general public. The following video consists of some raw footage made at that time by attendees of a FOSS RTA training course in program making. The idea was for the trainees to shoot some actual footage on the street of Limerick in order to get a range of public opinion about the upcoming government legislation. 1991 in March. I would have been quite young. Also would have been celebrating my birthday and freezing my ass off in Michigan. Do 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 do. The intention was that the trainees' footage would then be aired on Scratch Saturday, RTA's Saturday morning TV show for teenagers, and that afterwards there would be a discussion in the studio on the issue. However, the footage never even made it to the editing room, never mind being broadcast. Apparently, one of the chemists who had been approached by the trainee program makers immediately contacted the Director General of RTE, protesting that the young upstarts with cameras had rudely invaded the premises without permission. The chemists wanted RTE to take appropriate action, that RTE would be seen to be taking inappropriate action as punishment for the brat's scandalous and unlawful behavior. Chemists being pharmacists? Is this being read to us?
Look, I'm not, I mean, you just all come in here to me to ask me questions like that without me inviting you in, okay, into a business life such as this is,
Just a few quick questions.
Jesus Christ.
We're from Limerick, the Limerick area.
Who are you representing?
We're We're doing a young people's program.
I like the Irish accent a lot better than I like the Brits. I like their accent way more.
Why don't you want to talk to us?
I try. I try.
Ah, it's only a few
No,
quick questions.
oh Lord,
Or
try
go
somebody
on.
else.
Fun.
And the cause of these reactions? This, a condom. During March 1991, the great condom debate was taking place. Should condoms be made more freely available to the public? And should the legal age for the purchase of condoms be reduced from 18 years to 16 years of age? We took to the streets of Limerick, with this in one hand, a list of questions in the other. This was the result.
Do you or your friends ever buy condoms?
And they thought this was going to lead to a discussion and a forum, and they thought it was going to actually, bring conversation, which is all we were ever trying to do, right? 1991 in Ireland. Wow.
And where would you buy them?
Chemists.
Chemists.
Yeah.
You have no problem getting them over the counter?
No.
Has anybody ever asked you your age?
No.
Why would a 16-year-old need condoms?
In case.
1991 in Ireland? Shit, it was hard to buy condoms, I think, period. I mean, I don't think condoms were that readily available in Ireland 1991. But yeah, definitely not for kids. Definitely not regularly available. Not a big fan of Dairy Girls, eh? If you watch the Dairy Girls, or I watch a lot of British, the only TV I watch is basically British, or I like accents, I guess, but Australian. I like a handful of Australian shows too. But yeah, the old British shows, yeah, no, they don't talk about condoms or sex. That's very, very not, very Catholic restraint over there. A lot of Catholic restraint and guilt over there.
Do you think 16-year-olds should be able to get condoms?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you or your friends ever buy condoms? No. No. Why would a 16-year-old need a condom?
Because if you can get married at 16, you should be allowed to use condoms. I mean, sex is going to happen whether people like it or not, so...
And do you think many of the girls in your class use condoms?
I'd say there are a few. I wouldn't know, but I'd say there are a good few. You should be able to get them, because if you can get married, there are married people at 16, and if you can't get condoms, I mean, not everyone wants children, so
You're willing to come on camera, just answer a few quick questions first. Be simple, 2 minutes.
Like what? I have to go
I'll
to
tell
bed.
you now, we're just trying to get opinions on the street of what people think about this whole condom issue.
Oh, gee.
And we just want to get views from all sorts of people.
For who? Who are you working for?
Well, it's hopefully to go out on a programme on Scratch Saturday.
Forgetting.
Do you think 16-year-olds should be able to use condoms?
Sure, yeah.
Should they be able to purchase them around Limerick?
Yeah.
Are they available to 16-year-olds around Limerick as it is?
No, they're not. Yeah.
Can 16-year-olds get condoms in Limerick?
I need this. You get them up around the corner there. Condoms.
What's up around the corner?
Condoms, they need to get them out of it. No, if you look over, they get them out of it.
Do you or your friends buy condoms?
Nah. Not the same thing when you use them.
It's only young people that'll talk to them. That's for sure. It's only young people that'll even speak to them. I can't. These guys, your friends buy condoms. No, they don't look like they're in high school, do they? I guess maybe they could. I don't fucking know. It's the 90s, man. I don't know.
Why do you know that?
Why would a 16-year-old need a condom?
Because they might want to get pregnant. Yeah. Nah, the AIDS, you want to use them,
Thanks. What do you think of politicians or church leaders who say that 16-year-olds shouldn't be able to buy condoms?
Not
I think it's ridiculous.
Why do you think so?
Again, only they're trying to get footage. They're in Limerick. It's not a small town. It's not like they're in some little community. They're in Limerick, but nobody will talk to them except for kids. Ooh, condoms? Nope. Every old person pushes the camera out of their face, where young people are at least willing to talk.
Well, I mean, they've been 16 months as well. I definitely think they should be able to buy.
Do you or your friends buy condoms?
I don't, but I know friends who do, yeah.
So do you think there's a need for 16-year-olds to be able to get them around Limerick? Why would a 16-year-old need a condom?
I suppose, like, if they're having a steady relationship, they would.
No, you're not gonna ask a nun. That's rude. Okay, that's rude. That's ignorant. But why would a 16-year-old need a condom? It's an odd, like, all the other questions seem more, maybe it's her last questions that's the off-putting question, but also, why are you approaching a nun? I know you're trying to get an old lady, but why are you trying to approach a nun? Trying to get the religious point of view by some super old nun? That's not how you do that.
What do you think so of people like the church or politicians who say that 16 is too young for people to buy condoms?
I think it's entirely up to the 16-year-old.
The church or politicians don't know say.
Why do you think a 16-year-old needs a condom? Fucking, yeah, like, you know. There's reasons, you know. Like, that's the last question. That's the way you're leaving the interview. You have a list of 5 or 6 questions, and that's the way you're leaving each interview. That's awkward. That's not good interviewing. You're not leaving the interview, the interviewed person leaving that well, you know, feeling well about themselves. Like, that's a bad question to finish.
Well, they should have a say, but they were 16 once as well. I'm sure they weren't all virgins until they were 18.
At present, do you think that 16-year-olds anyway can go in and get condoms?
No problem.
They never would be asked their age or identification.
I wouldn't think so.
Okay, it's grand. Thanks.
Grand, thanks. So she left the last question out on that one. She learned, like, that is not the best answer. Okay, now this is better. Like, at least you're not going up to somebody who looks like they can barely walk across the street on their own. What up? It's Native. How's you doing tonight? We're watching some old school, the great condom debate, but really it's just an interview style. It's kind of fun. Oh shit.
No, I don't.
I'm sorry. I was doing smokes and drinks for new follows tonight. So what's up? Welcome to the old school Ireland clip. Pretty fun old school politics here. And I'll have a hit and drink to that follow. What up?
I think so, if you don't mind.
No.
Okay.
Fine. Okay.
We'll just answer a few questions, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, we will if I know, yeah. Okay.
Certainly.
Okay.
Do you think 16-year-olds should be able to buy condoms?
Yeah. It's good, you know, if you were 16.
What do you think of politicians or church leaders who say that children 16 years of age are too young to buy condoms?
Yeah, thank you. That was a good hit for that one. Woo-wee. I love the old school clips. We've been enjoying the old school clips on the second half of our streams. Those of us who enjoy the late night politics, we enjoy the old school clips. It's been fun.
No, it's not too young, you know, 16 is not too young. It should be by 16, you know. It's not too young. It's about the AIDS or the disease everywhere, you know, where people are scared from disease, and it will be by under 16, you know.
And do you think they should be on sale in other places aside from chemists and family planning?
Yeah, inside. It's going to be everywhere, you know.
Should be
all shop, all, you know, stores. Yeah.
So they're even talking like people can get married at 16 there, and people are getting married at 16 there. So, if I'm not mistaken, Ireland and Britain at that time, you were graduating from your level A's at 16, and then you would go to rather a preliminary college, or you would go to a trade school kind of thing. And most of the Great Britain area. If I'm wrong, somebody please correct. But like they have when they graduate their first school, it's like 16 instead of 18 like in America, and then they go to like a transition school. And most people, people get married right out of the first school at 16. So people were getting married at 16, but no condoms. I'm sorry, you're married at 16. You're fucking like rabbits. You're definitely popping out 2 or 3 kids. So yeah, they should have the opportunity to.
About the condom research that. You wouldn't like to make a comment on it? Why not?
I would not.
We find people are reluctant to talk about it.
Nah?
We find people are reluctant to talk about the condom issue.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, it's because the clergy are involved in it, isn't it?
Do you think 16-year-olds should be able to buy condoms?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Do you or many of your friends buy condoms?
They do actually, yeah.
And are they easy to get around Limerick?
Yeah, you can buy them in any chemist, I think. A 16-year-olds can go in and get them.
And they're never asked their age?
No, I don't think so.
Why would a 16-year-old need a condom?
No. Protection, what do you think?
It's protection, don't you think? I don't like the way she ends them, man. I don't. See, I fucking listen to accents. I start talking one. I have no accent. I am from Midwest. No accent. I did get a little bit of a Canadian accent in college because I was around all Canadians for a couple years. And you hear it enough, you start getting it, I guess. I don't know. So I picked up a couple words, but no, I don't have an accent. That's just because I keep listening to them and when I start talking it. Oh. I watched like 10 episodes of Doctor Who and I start trying to talk Scottish. Like.
Thanks.
To make balloon. Yeah, like it's the most awkward way to finish an interview, right? Like the first questions I feel like are okay. Like I like the way she approaching a priest now. What the fuck are you doing? What are you approaching a priest for? But the questions are okay, except for the question about what would you use it for. That's so weird. Like she asked it. It's such a weird question. And especially with it being a heated topic, it's not a good way to leave a person. It's not a good way to, like, if somebody's walking up and they hear that as your last question, they're not going to talk to you because that's a weird thing to say.
Quick questions.
No.
Just a few quick questions.
No, a priest doesn't want to talk to you. And that was going to be shown on a Saturday morning TV show. If a priest was talking about a condom, he can be kicked out. He's not going to speak to you.
Okay? A few quick questions.
Sorry.
No. Oh, three, on three.
No,
right.
sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry. Sorry.
Come on. 1, 2, 3, go. Lads, what's that?
Condom.
Do you think 16-year-olds should be able to buy condoms?
Yeah. No.
Why? You do.
They're allowed to get married at 16.
Do you think they should be able to?
See, that's so freaking easy. Like, it's such an easy argument. It's just, dude, you're allowed to get married. Why can't you have a condom? It's such a basic argument. Like, he's looking at her like, are you stupid? Like, you can get married. Yeah, you should be able to buy a condom. Yeah, that's stupid. Yeah, what's your point? And he said no. Mr. Curly Hair said no.
Buy condoms?
No.
Why not?
I just don't.
You don't? Why?
No reason, just
Do you think they're too young to be able to buy condoms?
I just don't want them to. No, they shouldn't. I just don't want them to. That's a good logic. Yeah, I can follow that logic a long ways.
Are they too immature?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
Why? Do you think if condoms become more readily available, will it put pressure on people to have sex?
Oh. Okay, where is this line of questioning for everybody else? That's a good question. Where is that line of questioning for everybody else? How do you develop this question later on in the day? That should have been your question, not what are they going to use it for. That should have been her question, not what are you going to use it for. But that was a good question. I mean, it's interrogation. Yeah, she's grilling somebody because he's anti. So she's finally got somebody who's anti and she can grill him. She was hoping one of those old people. She was absolutely hoping one of those old people would be anti and she could grill them. So yeah, she's interrogating. She's grilling him. But, I mean, but why wasn't that her question for other... Why wasn't some question along that lines for other people? Why did she only have that for the anti? That was a better question than what would a 16-year-old use a condom for. What would a 16-year-old use a condom for is a bad question. That was actually something at least interesting.
No. You just don't think they should be available to them? What do you think of politicians?
And again, I fucking love the fucking Irish accent. It's so fucking a beautiful accent. Beautiful accent.
Are the churches say that condoms shouldn't be available to 16-year-olds?
Stupid. I mean, the church will marry 16-year-olds. You know, they should allow them to have.
Like if this guy over here with the curly hair was an American, I'd want to punch him right now. But I'm being lenient because he's got that nice accent.
Do you or any of your friends buy condoms?
Yeah.
And do you think they're available to 16-year-olds as it is around Limerick?
Yeah.
They'd have no problem getting them? Yeah. Okay, that's grand. What's this?
Okay, those are kids. That's like a 12 to 13-year-old, right? These are children, now she's asking. This guy's right here. Look at this. Oh no, he's gonna snap, isn't he? Oh man, that was a good pause. Look at this. He's gonna lose. He came over like, whoa, hold up. These are like 12, 13-year-old kids thinking they're like, oh, okay, hold on. This is gonna be good. Is this the best moment? No. This has got to be the best moment.
Condom.
Do you think 16-year-olds should be able to buy condoms?
Yeah.
Why do you think 16-year-olds should be able?
Because like AIDS is coming out, like, and people should be allowed to buy them, like.
Because of AIDS. This is during, he screenshot that. Fucking right. That is a good call. That is a, actually, I want like the, oh man. Yeah. Jesus. That's gonna be, I gotta thumbnail that one for my YouTube tomorrow. I'm gonna drop this as a YouTube. Oh, that's so fantastic. Oh my God. So, I'm gonna like clip this somehow and make like, this has gotta be like a moment where like, you can do it for other things, you know? Like we're gonna clip this 10, 30 seconds and make it into a meme or a GIF or some shit.
Condom.
Do you think 16-year-olds should be able to buy condoms?
Yeah.
Why do you think 16-year-olds should be able?
Because like AIDS is coming out, like, and
You can still hear the girls laughing from a distance.
people should be allowed to buy them, like.
And what do you think of politicians or church leaders who say that condoms shouldn't be available to 16-year-olds?
Old-fashioned, you know.
Oh, this 14-year-old kid, oh, I guess he's as tall as the adults. He's 14, 15, right? This 14, 15-year-old kid's saying that as the too old-fashioned guy is ready to jump down their throats. He's got to be right.
Do you buy condoms or any of your friends?
No, but they should be widely available, like, you should be able to get them in shops or anywhere, like.
And where did they buy them?
You can buy them anywhere. They give them. It's like in other lads go in, older lads go in and get them, like, for the younger lads, like. That's how they get them.
It won't make much difference.
They'd be able to get them anyway.
Yeah.
There's been some research on this whole new condoms issue.
Well, I think the better way would be you just stuck your nose into this anyway. Oh, shit. I got an ad coming up. Fuck. I'm going to rewatch this. This is just, I want to like video record him walking up on that and then stopping and freezing and listening. Like he was so far away. He came all creepy up on it. And then, like, as they finish, he goes to, like, walk away and not even, like, talk to him. And she has to approach him. She has to go and approach him like he was going to walk away from that situation. Man, you obviously want to say something. Say something. Say something. What you walking away for? Why are you walking away? Oh. Come on, Pops. What you got to say?
Yes. And we just want to get some opinion on the street, people's opinions.
I understand, yes. Well, I think it should be only available to people 18 years of age upwards.
Of course, of course, of course, of course.
I think it's too young at 16 or 17.
And why do you think it's too young?
Well, I don't know. They're not educated enough at 16. So.
They're not educated enough. Yes. Because education has to do with sexual reproduction. Education has to do with sexual hormones. Thank Christ. Just don't allow them to. You know, if you don't allow them to have sex, then they won't have sex. That's a fantastic way to deal with that problem. I love that there's a kid standing 5 feet from you saying that it's an old-fashioned, out-of-date, like, train of thought, and you walk up and go, I don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't even know why. I just don't like it. Like, do you not hear yourself? Did you not hear what the kid said and then hear yourself speak? Oh man, I really hope I'm never that old guy. I really hope I'm never that old guy.
What do you think of people like the church and
Oh, they're definitely, yeah. You think you're gonna ask these people and they're not?
state who say that 16-year-olds are too young to get condoms? I don't think they have a clue what they're talking about. Do you buy condoms?
What?
Do you or any of your friends buy condoms?
No.
Do you think that if 16-year-olds are able to get condoms here on Limerick? No.
I think they could.
Yeah.
16's too young. Problem is 16-year-olds don't care. Yeah, I mean, 16's maybe too young for definitely. I mean, I definitely wasn't having sex at 16. I'm an introvert and awkward as fuck, so I definitely was not having sex at 16. But you're not gonna stop 16-year-olds. Yeah, I mean, fucking kids are gonna fuck. Like, and it's an awkward conversation to think that in 1991. This was completely like an actual debate happening, and there was that many people that were anti it that they wouldn't even speak on camera. Is kind of crazy, right? Like in 1991, you couldn't even talk about condoms on camera in Ireland. It's kind of intense.
I'm not sure. Probably. Yeah.
I'd say so. Do you think 16-year-olds should be able to buy condoms?
Should they be able to buy them?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't answer that question now.
Why not?
What would you think yourself?
I don't know, really. It's not for me to
She'll
say.
ask me, she doesn't
I
know.
want to get an opinion on the street.
No, not to my knowledge. Not at that age.
They're too young, do you think?
Yeah, married people, I suppose, I have a family.
But if you can get married at 16, why can't you get
But if they were married, I said.
If they were married, they could. What do you think? So you agree? What do you think of politics?
So you can get a condom if you have a marriage certificate. If you're married at 16, you were smart enough and able to. If you were unmarried at 16, then no condoms for you.
Politicians in the church saying that they're too young to get condoms.
I don't implicate me chatting over the church.
No.
No way.
Do you think 16-year-olds should be able to use condoms? Yeah. Why? Because.
They had a hard time explaining somebody get their penis cut off on air. No wonder. That's an intense conversation.
They get them anyway.
Do they get them?
Yeah, they buy them anyway. Where would they buy them? In a chemist. And would they never be asked their age? No, I don't think so. Do you or your friends buy condoms?
She does, yeah.
Why would a 16-year-old need a condom?
What would you think, like?
Why would you think? That's a stupid fucking question. That's a real fucking dumb one.
To themselves, like this age thing wouldn't matter. So what do you think of people like the church or politicians saying that 16-year-olds shouldn't be able to buy condoms?
Stupid. Like if they don't know already that they do buy them, it's ridiculous.
So you think that most of the 16-year-olds anyway are buying them as it is and using them?
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder would you be willing to come on camera and answer a few questions?
About what?
It's just all about this whole new condoms issue. We're trying to get opinions of people on the street, young and old alike.
You're insinuating I'm old.
No,
it's not on me now.
Young and old alike, because really what I'm saying is only young people will actually talk to me. Most old people blow me off. For the love of God, I just need a couple old people. See, I go right into the accent.
Joel, will you answer a few questions? Just a few quick ones.
It's addicting.
Right. Do you think 16-year-olds should be able to buy condoms?
I keep an open mind.
So you think they should or they shouldn't?
I don't know really. I don't even think about this.
Yeah. What do you think the church or the state who say that 16-year-olds are too young to use condoms?
I keep an open mind.
That's as much as she can say on camera. That's respectable. That's camera, and it's the 90s. Not every single person was being video recorded in the 90s. That's, some big person. This is probably a giant camera that they're recording with, right? So, like, she's feeling awkward, and yeah, that's respectable. She's keeping an open mind and trying to walk away. Like, I appreciate that.
What about this, people can get married at 16 but they can't have access to contraception?
So it's really up to themselves. I mean, 16-year-olds are a lot more mature than when I was a 16-year-old. They're more mature now than what I was. So that's all I have to say. Goodbye now.
No, take 3, so, okay. Okay, we might try a few others out, so, alright, okay? Right. Okay. What's this, John, if you know?
Condom.
Do you think 16
Oh, that's great. We get a bunch of kids.
Yeah, definitely. Why so? Well, the legal age for the sex is 16 allowed to buy condoms.
Because of the sex. Why should they be allowed to buy them? Because of the sex. Oh no. You gotta be more politically correct. There's a camera right there.
When you're 16. Yeah. Well, the legal age to have sex, like, is at 16. I mean, come on, like, what are people supposed to do for the next 2 years? Like, what do you think of church and politicians?
No, absolutely not. This is a very taboo subject. And she is being blunt. Like, she is not, like, warming them up, asking them where they're from. She's not trying to, like, slow into it. She's like, bam, condom, what's up?
To say that 16 is too young for people to be able to... Their business. It's none of their business. They're only interested in the Catholics. But I mean, like, not a lot of 16-year-olds are interested in religion. So do you...
Whoa! She just said not a lot of 16-year-olds are interested in religion. That might be the biggest fucking bomb I've heard from any of these interviews ever. Whoa! 1991. Not a lot of 16-year-olds are interested in religion. Whew. That's some fire fucking quote right there. She pulls out her Magnum like, this is my boyfriend when I find somebody that can fit it. Oh, you're talking about the interviewee, like she pulls out a Magnum like, what is this? What about a Fendom? Do you know what this is? Pulls out a backpack, starts throwing them around. That might be the best quote I've heard from a teenager in my life.
If you friends you know buy condoms, and can you buy them around Limerick? Yeah, anywhere in the chemist.
Yeah. It's pretty embarrassing. They should put it in the toilets like slot machines like they do in England.
Like they do in England. Oh, they want to be able to buy them in places that's not so embarrassing. That's genius. This girl right here, she's already gotten condoms. She's absolutely bought them. So is she. They have absolutely all purchased condoms before. The little one was like, for sex, obviously. Jesus. That's why we need them.
It'd be a lot safer.
Do you have any problem getting a condom over the counter? Do people ask you your age?
No, not really. I never tried. Like, but if I did, I don't think they would. Like.
Do some research on
The one girl said, no, not really. The other girl goes, I don't think it would. I don't think that would be a thing.
You know, the whole outcry on condoms and...
Oh, the freaking... You went back after the... That's kind of rude. That's a touch rude. You should have cut that out. Going back to the freaking...
16-year-olds should be able to buy condoms? Definitely. You do? What do you think of the church or the politicians who say they shouldn't?
I think they should leave it to the government to decide. I think they should stay completely out of it. And it's a state matter, not something for the church.
Thanks.
I think it's a state matter, not up to the church. Hey, we got somebody who was below the age of... She was not talking to many, like, middle-aged people, right? Like, she was going right to, like, 16-year-olds and 80-year-olds. There was a logical 30-something, 40-something, right? There we go. I gotta go off camera for a second. I'll be right back.
Right. Do you notice people are embarrassed coming in to buy condoms?
Not now. It used to be. It used to be... men used to get very embarrassed, but now it's completely different. Completely different.
And do many girls buy condoms?
It's 50-50ish. It's half and half now.
What would you think of condoms being on sale in other outlets aside from chemists and family planning clinics?
I'd be all for it. Once the bill was passed, I'd be all for it.
What do you think of 16-year-olds being able to buy condoms?
It's a bit young, I suppose, really, isn't it? 18 is grand. If you reduce it to 16, you'll have 14-year-olds getting it or whatever. You know, where does it leave it at 18, I think?
And do you think they should be sold in other outlets besides chemists?
Oh yeah, yeah. Probably, yeah.
So what's your opinion on the church or the politicians who say that 16 is too young an age for people to use condoms?
I just think that they should be made more freely available, all right, but that 16 is a bit young. That's all.
Can you buy condoms here in Rathkeel?
I suppose you can, yeah, in the chemist.
And can 16-year-olds buy them here in Rathkeel? Do you know?
I don't know if you can, yeah.
Do you think 16-year-olds should be able to buy condoms?
No.
Why not?
I don't think they're able to make up.
Whoa, that was unexpected. That one was unexpected. I think I might have to leave it at these ladies' comments. We'll let them finish, but that was unexpected. I did not expect that, honestly. How hard is she gonna grill them? I mean, they grilled curly hair guy pretty hard. Think they're gonna grill this this couple of psychos? They said no, like hard. Like they said no fast. All right, I got my 90th view. It's native was correct. I did hit my goal for the week. We'll jump that up for the remaining of January for 100 now, which is pretty cool. I like the growth. It's awesome. Getting up to 100 by the end of the month would be pretty sweet. So let's, but yeah, that was fucking hot.
The mind is at age now. You know, they're not responsible enough.
And what do you think of the church or politicians who say
They're not responsible enough. Okay, I thought they were maybe like in their late teens, but now she looks like she's got crow's feet. So maybe then, but she's got a. Is this a mother-daughter, and the daughter's too scared to say something? What is this? Is this a plant?
16